Greetings, Room 19 parents, and welcome to Partners in Print. So unfortunately, because of COVID, we can't have parents and children in the classroom, which is such a bummer because Partners in Print is one of my favorite evening events. It's right after daylight savings time, so it gets really dark. The custodians turn on the lights, we open the doors, and I can hear the squeals of excitement from off in the distance as kids walk to school with their parents. We have for you, when you come inside the classroom, their book box prepared where they have a never seen book before, so a book they've never seen in their lives, and we work with parents on how to work with their children on reading a brand new book that they've never seen before. So here's my little video on how to read books at home with your child, and then a few little just housekeeping nuts and bolts. But first of all, let's talk about why to read at home with your child. And I've got this cool little graph comparing student A, B, and C. So student C reads 1 minute per day, and they learn 8,000 new words per year. Student B reads for 5 minutes per day, and they learn 282,000 words per year. Student A reads 20 minutes per day. They learn a whopping 1,800,000 words per year. Not that we read for 20 minutes, that's a lot. Our books are little, but it's really important to establish good habits and get it going, and they're so excited about reading. So how do you do it? How do you make that magic happen at home as well? So we are going to send home a little spiel in your child's folder, how to read little books with your child. And it starts off with talking about an introduction. So here's the deal. Our language is so hard, so hard. And so, so what you're gonna have to do is take a sneak peek at the book and look for words that your child isn't gonna know. Sometimes I just point them out. So for example, look at this. Where? Who came up with that spelling? Where is my teacher? So if I'm using this in a reading book, I'll probably just point this out. Well, in our finger frame, we will put the word where. Maybe we'll cover up the W and say, oh, there's here. What? Well, here. And I'll remind them that there's some words that they just have to memorize. That's a tricky one that they're gonna have to memorize. Here's another one. Like we become at experts, which helps us to read the word hat, but who came up with the spelling for hat for the word what? So sometimes I'll just tell the kids the word. And then here's a tricky one. So this is just a level 2 book. Level B, it's what a lot of your kids are reading right now, but I'll do a preview and I'll realize, you know what? Most kids in the United States won't call this a kennel. They'll call it a doghouse. Some of our books are from New Zealand and Australia. So if they're from another country, they might have a tricky word. Here's a word that is stable. I think they'd probably know. But I would guess that a lot of our kids wouldn't know that a rabbit lives in a burrow. So those are words that you might have to implant when you're doing a picture walk, just looking at the pictures and saying, did you know that rabbits live in burrows? I'm wondering if with your finger frame, show me your finger frame. Can you show me the word burrow in your finger frame? And as the kids become more proficient, in the higher groups, I might say, well, show me in your finger frame the chunk that's in surf. And show me the O chunk that's in burrow, the one that's at the end of words like yellow and no. Right now, what we are learning is that OW, if you can see our giant Band-Aid, says ow. Pretty soon we're gonna learn, guess what? It doesn't just say that. It also says, I don't know if you can see our rainbow song, but the word yellow and the word show and snow, that those have the OW chunk as well. So tricky our language. So you'll get a little spiel if you could read that over, and then it's really important that you keep this in a special place. So maybe your child does their work at a desk. If they do, then maybe you keep this like on a cork board or a bulletin board by their desk. Maybe they do it in the kitchen. Find your special spot where you keep this so that you can refer to it. And then I'm sure this is very scientific, that students will do just about anything to sit with a stuffed animal friend. So in my reading group, we have been introduced to Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye reminds us that when you get stuck on a word, that you have to look at the picture. So since we're talking about pictures, every now and then I'll see comments that say this: looking too much at the picture, so we've been covering it up so that they can look just at the words. The problem is this: these books that are coming home are at their independent level. We are actually teaching them to look at the picture. The pictures are all factored into the level. There are multiple debates about the leveling of books with reading experts. These are all books from professional publishers. So don't cover up the pictures. They're going to need that for support. And then there's our friends Lips. Lips the fish. Lips the fish helps us with sound power. So when we get stuck on a word, we're honing in on that initial letter. As kids become more proficient, then we'll teach them, with Chunky Monkey's help, to look for the chunks in a word. Maybe they see the OW-ow, or the OWO at the end of words, or the ER at the end of Fletcher, or the CH that we see at the beginning of Chasen, etc. So, Chunky Monkey, we haven't met Chunky Monkey, but we will meet him soon. We have met Flippy the Dolphin. Flippy the Dolphin reminds us that sometimes you need to try the vowels 2 ways. Here's another superstar, Skippy the Frog. Skippy the Frog reminds us that when you're stuck on a word, sometimes it's best to just skip it, read on. When you get more context, then you can go back and see if you can figure out the word. Stretchy Snakes reminds us that good readers stretch out the word, saying each sound slowly. And then there's Tryin' Lion. Tryin' Lion just reminds us to reread the sentence and to think about what makes sense. So let me show you this. We'll have a copy of this. And this is on the back of your reading envelope. So tell us what your child is using to help figure out some of the trickier words, right? Are they looking at the pictures? Are they getting their mouth ready to say the first sound? Are they stretching out the word and saying each sound, etc.? So you are going to get an envelope that looks like this, okay? It has the prompts that you can give them when they get stuck on a word, and it has 1 line for each book. When you make a comment, please don't write blah, 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 and use up 5 lines. So ideally, it's 1 book a night per line, and it's going to end up looking like this. Oh my goodness. Look at all those books your child is going to be reading this year. So the reason we have it just taped down on one side is so that we can check and see what your child's already read. So that's this that will be going home. And now let's talk about the books themselves. So the book is going to go inside the envelope, and this is going to go inside their envelope. So it's doubly protected. Why do we need to take really good care of our books? Because believe it or not, these books cost $10. They're from professional publishers. They're extremely expensive, so please take really good care of our books. After your child reads it, stick it back inside the envelope, and then it will come back tomorrow. When they come to school in the morning, or late birds will do their reading at like about 1:30 after the early birds have left. We start off with them reading last night's book. So they'll end up the book box collection that I showed you just the other day. Well, that is now going to be books that they've read at home with you. Okay, so the philosophy of prolific reading is that that is one of the most important ways to become a better reader. 10 ways to become a better reader. Read, 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 read. As they read the books with you, at their independent level, they're working on sight words, they're working on fluency, they're working on just building up those tools in their toolbox. And then with me here in reading group, that's where I'm going to be working with them on their instructional level. So I will give them a gentle nudge into harder and harder books. So what does that mean? That means if I'm reading level 4, so a C with your child, then at home they're reading an easier level 2 or a B with you. Okay? So, what to do when your child gets stuck? Most parents say, sound it out. The problem is most words in our language you can't sound out. So, what else could you say? How about this? Give them 5 to 10 seconds to think about it and to try to pull a strategy out. If they can't think of it, you might prompt them to look at the picture. If they still can't figure it out, it might be, get your mouth ready and say the first sound. Or think about what makes sense. Why don't you go back to the beginning and get a running start. Reread and see if you can figure it out. The best readers are readers that read for meaning and don't rely exclusively on the visual, on the letters and sounds. Okay? And then the other thing is, it's okay to just give them a told on words like where or words like what that are really tricky. Okay? So everyone, let's give it a try. So starting tomorrow, your child is going to be taking home their very first book that they've never seen before. Try to read it a little bit earlier in the day rather than saving it for your bedtime routine. I just know from experience and even my own personal experience that your child won't be as cooperative at 7:30 as they are at 4. So some parents like to get into the routine of you come home, you have a little snack, you read your book, you put it back in your envelope and then back in your big envelope so it's ready to come back for the next day. Okay? All right, everyone, have fun. So exciting.